Okay, Mr. Wells, first of all, thank you for coming out today. This is your video lesson, returned to you. There's probably four things we need to look at. The first is making sure your shoulders stay square at address or parallel to where you're trying to start the ball. Your tendency, because you do have some hip problems, is for your shoulders to open. You can see on the left-hand side, you've closed your feet, pointed them to the right of the target. That allows you to get your shoulders square, and you can see half of your left arm. That's a really good position right there. The feet don't mean a whole lot as far as the setup goes. It's much more important to get your shoulders in the right position. And you see over on the right-hand side, your shoulders are a little more open, and that's due to the ball position being forward. And so again, there probably needs to be a larger adjustment in the lower body. You notice you actually didn't do it quite as much as you did on the one on the left with the 7-iron. The second thing we have to work on is the initial start to the downswing. Your tendency is to lift your arms up and out as opposed to moving them down while keeping your body a little more passive. The third thing is, as you come into the ball, your tendency is to bring the club in towards your body and cut across it. And we want to have the feeling the club is swinging much more on a consistent plane, which we'll discuss when we get there. But when you do that, it actually makes the club come inside too much. And if you look on the right-hand side, you see that you actually put the ball on the heel of the club. And that's with the longest clubs, that's an accommodation for that inward motion. So over on the left-hand side, we're just going to move you right up to the top because I think the backswings are really good. And face on is quite good as well. So I'm going to draw a line here, and we want your hands to work down that line. I'll move over here to the driver swing as well, and we'll see the same thing. There we go. We want the hands to work down that line. So you can see over here on the left, see the hands come up and they move above that line. Okay, now the tendency with the shorter clubs is for you to get the club back on line, and you actually get the club in a pretty decent position here, but in the movement of the swing, the tendency is to move that club to the left. Now over here on the right with the driver, you actually do it even more. You can see the hands come up, they come out, and they don't come back down to that line. And that is a pretty significant difference because you'll see as the club gets down to parallel to the ground, where over on the left-hand side the club heads behind your hands, indicating the club is swinging down more from the inside. You see on the one on the right, the club is outside your hands. So let's continue this, and you'll see the hands. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put a line right here on your wrists. And on the other side of the swing, we want to see your hands in the same place. So you have a little bit of a complicated motion. You see the club come in significantly there, and you swing across it, and then you have the tendency right in here to start moving the club up again. So those hands do come in excessively. We can do the same thing over here. We're just putting that on the inside of that left wrist, and you can see that the club will start to move inward too fast. Okay, not as bad because the club is more up and down. But in both cases, we're going to go ahead and look at the 7-iron first. You can see it's getting dark there. Sorry about that. Now, the goal here is this part, you're moving your arms down, moving them down, and then what we talked about, you see that shaft's in the way. If you come out too much, you would hit that shaft. It's not really in danger in the 7-iron, but it is in the driver. And then you're trying to swing your arms out as far as you can. Now you see that's a tremendous difference between those two positions. And that's really what you want to try to do. You'll see the club face turns over more, squaring the face. But the big thing is getting the club to swing out that much. Now, that's excessive, but the idea is the same. So as you swing this club back, okay, and you move the club back down, still comes out a little bit, but not as much as it was. And if we compare the two at the same spot, should be approximately right there. Let me get that out of the way. You can see that the club shaft is more inside. Now we'll bring them both down to where the club is parallel to the ground. And as I said, that's in a pretty good position, but you're in a better position here insofar as swinging the club into out. You see how the club is more behind your hands. You can see that by where it ends up in the spot on your thigh. So we'll continue on the right. Now you feel like you're swinging your hands out way out to the right. Continue them way out, and you're really not. Okay, you really don't get them out there, but relative to what you were doing before, they are better. Okay, you can see that. You create more space. And that little difference there makes a tremendous difference in the ball flight. Okay, so we'll look at the driver again. Okay. So the driver often is your most difficult club. All right, we'll put our line here as we did before. And then that shaft is obviously in the way there. And then I'm going to sneak in here and hold this next to you so we do this enough. Now, this is just a little bit of a barrier to get you to do this. Now, the first thing you notice is look how much more your shoulders are closed. So that's a positive there. We swing the club back, and we'll watch this club. We'll bring this one down to where the left arm is parallel to the ground. And if we bring this one down to parallel to the ground, there's a significant difference, and you can see the path of it. Okay, so the left arm is pitched much more in than the one on the left. And as we move the club down, as we saw before, the club head gets outside your hands. Okay. Now the one over here is going to be, the club is much more inside your hands. Now, this is, so far you're in good shape. Now, at this point, you must keep swinging your arms, which feels like way out to the right. We look at the one on the left, we can see the arms coming in very close to the body right there. So even though you're trying to make a tremendous exaggeration, you notice it's not much of an exaggeration at all, but it's a big difference in the contact. In the ball on the right had a nice draw on it, the one on the left started straight and cut away. So those are the pieces that we want to continue to work on. The final piece is the club face position relative to the path. But my sense is that once we get the path more consistent, it makes sense to work on the face. Until the path's consistent, the face has always got to be in a different position. So it probably isn't very helpful to work on that. Okay, great job, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.